The movie begins with David, whose wife is leaving him for another man. That wouldn't be so bad, but in this world, being single is actually illegal. So David is escorted to a hotel for singles, bringing along his dog. There he goes through an admission process where he's asked a series of formal questions. We learn that he has never been single before and was married for 11 years. He has no children, and the dog he's carrying is actually his brother. His brother was sent to the same hotel a couple of years earlier, failed to find a partner, and was turned into a dog. David's clothes and personal belongings are taken away, and he is provided with identical clothes and everything he might need. He is assigned to room 101. Inside the room, he finds a tranquilizer gun with 20 darts. Looking out the window, he sees the unconscious bodies of captured loners lying on the ground. Shortly after, the hotel manager arrives to welcome him and explain how everything works. She tells him that single people have 45 days to find a partner, or they will be transformed into an animal of their choice. She reassures him that this shouldn't frighten him, because becoming an animal is simply a second chance at finding a companion. However, even then, he would need to find a compatible partner, just like in human form. She asks him what animal he would choose, and he says a lobster, explaining that lobsters live for over 100 years, remain fertile their whole lives, and he loves the sea. The manager is impressed with his answer, noting that most people choose dogs, which is why there's so many of them. Before leaving, they lock his belt to prevent him from masturbating, and then leave him alone to settle into his new life. The next day in the dining area, David meets Robert, a man with a lisp, and John, a man with a limp. It quickly becomes clear that in this world, people are matched based on shared defining traits, no matter how small or superficial. As he looks around, David notices several potential matches: a woman who gets frequent nosebleeds, a woman who is described as completely heartless, and another who constantly eats butter biscuits. John invites David to join him and Robert for a walk outside, and the three of them spend some time together getting to know each other. Later, they take part in a group activity led by the hotel manager, where new guests introduce themselves and explain their defining characteristics. John shares that his father left his mother for a woman who was better at math, and after that, his mother couldn't find a new partner. As a result, she was sent to the hotel, failed to match with anyone, and was turned into a wolf. She was eventually placed in a zoo, and John began visiting her regularly because he missed her. One day, he climbed into the enclosure to hug her, but the wolves immediately attacked him. Only 2 of them didn't move, and he believes one of those might have been his mother. He survived the attack, but that's how he ended up with his limp. The hotel enforces a long list of strict rules and rituals. Masturbation is forbidden, but at the same time, guests are subjected to daily sexual stimulation by a hotel maid as part of the process. They are also required to attend dances and watch these bizarre demonstrations promoting life as a couple. In one example, a man eating alone begins to choke and has no one to help him. In contrast, a couple at a table easily handles the same situation, with one partner saving the other. The message is very clear: being alone is dangerous. Meanwhile, residents can extend their deadline by hunting loners in the woods, using tranquilizer guns to capture them and earn extra days. David attends his first dance session, where he dances with a woman who gets frequent nosebleeds. Once the dancing ends, all the guests are suddenly rushed into vans and taken to the woods to hunt loners, people who have escaped the system and chosen to live alone. By the end of the hunt, the heartless woman has captured 4 loners, bringing her total up to 148 days. David, on the other hand, fails to catch anyone. At one point, Robert is caught masturbating. He is publicly confronted in the dining area, and, as punishment, the staff bring out a toaster and force him to place his hand inside it. After that, the 3 men sit together again and start talking, and John says his uncle used to work at the hotel as a waiter and actually saw how people get turned into animals. According to him, they soften the skin and peel it off, then remove the organs, and after that the rest of the process depends on the animal you've chosen. At one point, David mentions he noticed a woman with a limp and thinks she could be a good match for John, since he also has a limp. But John points out it's just a sprained ankle and she'll be fine in a few days, so that doesn't really count. On the way to another hunt, the woman who's always eating butter biscuits approaches David and offers him sex. He turns her down, and she tells him that if she doesn't find a partner soon, she plans to jump out of a hotel window. Later, the three men are talking again, and Robert asks David what animal he's chosen if he doesn't make it. David says lobster. Robert says he'll be a parrot, and John calls him stupid. He says he will make sure he won't end up as an animal at all, and that he'll leave the hotel with a partner. John goes over to the woman with the nosebleeds and tries to start a conversation, but it's not going anywhere at first. Then she suddenly notices his nose is bleeding, and everything clicks. He lies and tells her it happens all the time. She gets excited because she has the exact same issue, and now they have something in common. David, of course, knows it's all fake. Later, John admits to him that he's been secretly smashing his own nose to make it bleed. He says it's still a better option than getting turned into an animal and ending up as food. As messed up as it sounds, David actually agrees. Not long after that, the two of them are declared a match. They're moved to the couples section of the hotel to start a trial period together. The manager congratulates them and explains that their relationship will be closely watched, and if things start going wrong between them, they'll simply be given a child, as if that's supposed to fix everything. David tries to talk to the nosebleed woman's best friend, whose defining trait is her beautiful blonde hair. It also happens to be her last day at the hotel, so she's allowed to choose how she wants to spend her final hours. Her friend reads her a heartfelt letter, offering a final farewell and reminiscing about their time together. It starts off emotional, but then, out of nowhere, the blonde woman slaps her across the face. Not long after that, her time runs out, and she's taken away to be transformed. She's turned into a pony with a blonde mane. David later decides to pursue the most dangerous option, the heartless woman who has captured more loners than anyone else in the hotel. Their first real interaction happens while the screams of the biscuit-loving woman echo in the background, after she throws herself out of a window. And instead of reacting like a normal person, David forces himself to say he hopes she suffers more. That's what catches the heartless woman's attention. From that point on, he starts fully committing to the act. He joins her in the hot tub, where she pretends to choke on an olive just to test him. David does absolutely nothing to help her, and that's exactly what she's looking for. After that, they're declared a couple and moved into the couple suite. David keeps pushing it further. At one point, he even kicks the child that John and the nosebleed woman are assigned, just to prove he's as emotionless as she is. But she's still not completely convinced. One morning, she wakes him up and tells him she has killed his brother, the dog. She explains that she kicked him over and over again and that he suffered. David tries to stay in character and show no reaction, but when he sees the dog's body, he can't hide it. It's clear he's not as heartless as he's been pretending to be. She concludes that their entire relationship is based on a lie and decides to take him to the manager, where he'll be punished by being turned into an animal that no one would ever choose. But before that can happen, David manages to escape. With the help of a hotel maid, he tranquilizes the woman and has her transformed into an animal, though we never find out which one. That night, David escapes the hotel and makes his way into the woods, where he joins the loners. There, any kind of romance is strictly forbidden. If two people show even the slightest sign of attraction, the punishment is brutal. David notices one of the men has his lips badly bandaged, and later learns he was punished with something called the red kiss. After being caught kissing someone, both of their lips were cut, and they were forced to kiss again while injured. There's also an even worse punishment called the red intercourse, which everyone fears but no one wants to describe. Around the same time, it's revealed that the hotel maid who helped David escape is actually working as a mole for the leader of the loners. The two of them are secretly planning an attack on the hotel. The maid supplies her with useful items, including keys to the rooms, and they carefully plan the timing of the raid. Meanwhile, during one of the hunts, Robert ends up in the woods and comes across David. Desperate for more days at the hotel, he's about to shoot him. But before he can, a woman suddenly attacks Robert and stabs him in the leg, giving David a chance to escape. Afterward, she tells David never to mention that she helped him. Instead, if he wants to repay her, he should bring her a rabbit to eat. David later brings a dead rabbit to the woman as a way of thanking her. Soon, they start going on covert missions into the nearby city. To avoid suspicion, they have to pose as couples. David goes with the same woman, while the leader pairs up with another loner. In the mall, security actively looks for people who seem to be alone. Anyone suspicious is stopped and asks to show proof of partnership, like a certificate. During one of these trips, David finds out that the woman is short-sighted, just like him. They start talking about it when it began their first glasses, and it becomes their shared trait. Not long after, the loners carry out the raid on the hotel. During the chaos, David tells the nosebleed woman that John has been faking his condition all along. At the same time, the other loners hold the hotel manager and her partner at gunpoint, forcing him into a cruel test where he's told to shoot his own wife to prove he can survive alone. He pulls the trigger, but the gun isn't loaded. The loners leave them there to deal with each other. After the raid, the group celebrates back in the woods, and the leader reminds David of the rules. He needs to dig his own grave soon. If he dies, no one else will do it for him. After that, David starts to get jealous when other men bring the short-sighted woman rabbits. So he tells her that from now on, he'll be the one bringing them. The two of them grow closer and begin a secret relationship. To avoid getting caught, they come up with a system of gestures so they can communicate without speaking. During another trip to the city, where they're pretending to be couples again, they start kissing. It's enough for the leader to start suspecting them. The secret couple have come up with a plan to escape during the next hunt, making it look like they were captured so no one will come looking. But the plan doesn't stay secret for long. The leader finds the short-sighted woman's journal and learns everything. Soon after, she takes David out to a secluded spot and tells him to dig his own grave, then makes him lie inside it and start covering himself with soil. The leader, together with the maid, takes the short-sighted woman to the city, saying they're going to fix her eyesight. Instead, she has her blinded. The woman realizes what's been done and asks why they blinded her and not David. The leader just brushes it off and says she's not blind, that it's just a medication, but it's obvious she can't see. She can barely walk properly, so the leader and the maid have to guide her all the way back to the forest. At one point, the woman tries to stab the leader, but the leader quickly pulls the maid in front of her. The woman ends up stabbing the maid instead, killing her, while the leader pretends to be dead. Later, when she's back with David, she tries to act like everything is normal and even pretend she can still see. But she can't keep it up for long and eventually admits the truth. And now the one thing that connected them is gone. David tries to find something else they have in common, but there really isn't anything. So they slowly start drifting apart. He stops bringing her rabbits and doesn't go see her as much. Then one day, he comes back and does something different. Since she can't see his gestures anymore, he starts describing them so she can follow along. And through that, he tells her the plan. They're going to leave together. The next morning, David overpowers the leader and leaves her tied up in a grave. Then he takes the woman, and the two of them make it out of the forest and back into the city. They end up sitting in a restaurant like a normal couple. David takes a knife, goes to the bathroom, and starts preparing to blind himself. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.